New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm glad to know that you're here watching, whether you're here for the first time or you are back for more. Here at The Growing Edge, we talk to wonderful people that are channeling their time, their talent, their energy, their creativity, their love into doing good works in the world. And today I have some very, very special guests, and I'm excited for you to meet them. They're going to touch your hearts and inspire your minds and lift you up. And so today we have Karen Taylor Good and Stowe Daly. Stowegood. And so welcome, ladies. And here they are. Look at them in the studio.
Hello.
It's good to see you.
You too.
So these two wonderful women are new friends of mine, and I want to share a little bit about them before we actually get into our conversation. Karen Taylor Good is a Grammy-nominated songwriter of How Can I Help You Say Goodbye and other radio hits by Patti Loveless, Al Jarreau, Melissa Manchester, and many others. She has recorded albums and movie soundtracks with Willie Nelson, Al Green, and Dolly Parton. Her songs have been used for organizations including Help Child USA and the National Hospice Foundation. She is also the author of On Angel's Wings. And let's see, Karen. Karen, give us a little wave so they can know which beauty you are. And Stowe Daly is a singer-songwriter, best-selling author, and cancer survivor. She's a long time coming from the group Shenandoah. Her album, Angel Chants, was the soundtrack of Angel Stories, featured on the Learning Channel. She has co-authored 5 books, including Flying High, which was featured in the I Can Do It conference in Toronto. They're based in Nashville, Tennessee. These two amazing artists and presenters have shared their musical keynotes, workshops, and concerts across the US, Canada, Ireland, and the UK. So welcome, Karen. Welcome, Stowe. Welcome, Stowegood.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you. We're excited to be here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So I know that when we were chatting before the show, you had mentioned that you had stumbled across the fact that I love meditation. And I do. I truly feel like it is the stream running through my life. I'm always attempting to go there, whether I'm going for a walk or in my meditation sanctuary or cooking or whatever I'm doing. There's always a meditative quality. And it typically is accompanied for me by music. And so I would love it if you would share a meditation piece for us this morning to get us going.
We will. We do have a musical meditation, and we invite everyone to just breathe throughout it.
It's something that we oddly find every time we are in front of an audience and we are getting ready to do this song. We'll say, we often find ourselves each not breathing, which is kind of scary. But we say, how many of you have also found almost everybody raises their hand. So for people like me who have always had a fear of meditation somehow. I'm getting over it. I'm getting better. But breathing. So yeah, we call this our breathing song. And we certainly invite everyone to do that. Before the craziness begins, I breathe deep and go within. Here I am, an empty cup. I pray, God, please fill me up. Help me see your grand design. Lead me to a quiet mind. Right now I have all I need. All that's left to do is breathe. Well, I feel better.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was just what I needed. Maybe all of us needed to take that time to breathe. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I would love to get to know you a little more and hear about your journey. What were you both into spirituality, or were your families religious? How did you sort of start on your journey to self-discovery and connection with something greater than this physical world that we live in?
Wow. You want me to start? Sure. Yeah. I'm older. I'll start. So, my family is Jewish. And while my mom and dad were very Jewish, they sent money to Israel. They were very proudly Jewish, but they were culturally Jewish and not religiously at all. And so, like many, they ended up being, I think my father was more agnostic. My mother was probably more atheistic. And that's how I grew up in this. And I do want to say, for people that don't know a lot of Jewish people are very much into God. Yeah, that's a big deal. But then there's this part that isn't. So that was my family. So it was kind of a scary place to think that we're all just kind of thrown out here in this big universe without anything to hang on to or to guide us or help us. So I literally got dragged into a Unity church many years ago. I want to say 30 something years ago. And first of all, I was very resistant because it was a church. I'm like, I don't go to church. And I didn't hear, they stood up and they held hands, and I was like, oh God, What is, why am I here? This is so terrible. And then the minister spoke. I didn't hear a word. I don't know what they said. But then they spoke the prayer of protection. And it bypassed this noisy committee that was living in my head at the time and went immediately straight into my heart. And all of a sudden I knew that is the truth. We're actually not thrown out here scarily without any kind of love or guidance or connection. Oh, so that was my introduction.
It's beautiful.
Wow. Thank
What
you.
about you?
Well, for me, my birth family was Episcopalian. And so I grew up in that, and I felt it was comforting, but I felt a disconnect with the words and all the doctrine and stuff. I just did not go very well with that. And then because my mother died when I was 3, my father farmed me out to different homes. And so I ended up being exposed to lots of different religions. And most importantly was probably the Baptist religion, which was very scary because I had to be really careful because I could go to hell any minute. And so all of that kind of at some point in my young adulthood, I just kind of let go of religion. And then I would say what has really connected me to love, to spirit, was my what I call my near-death experience of having cancer and coming close to death. And all that time that I had, because cancer is a disruptor, disrupts your life completely. And there's the possibility that you may not be alive very long. And so I ended up spending a lot of time, like copious amounts of time in meditation, which I have not done since as much as I did back then, but it was life-changing. And the connection that I got with God was, it was just amazing. And it's what got me through, and it's what still gets me through. So.
How long ago was that, Stowe?
I was diagnosed in 2008, and so began my journey then. And it was like a 2-year experience.
Wow. Yeah, there's nothing like something so devastating to really give us that opportunity to question and check in and explore, outside of our box, outside of, who we are currently, to, what else is possible. And so, yeah, well, thank you for sharing your stories. And how did the two of you, so you're musicians, and tell us a little bit about your journey in music and how you met.
Well, in the early 90s, we were both songwriters here in Nashville, staff writers. I was a staff writer at Warner Chappell Music, and you were at?
I was at BMG Music.
Right down the street.
That was our publishers.
Yes, those were our publishers. And in those days, co-writing was a big deal in Nashville, and the publishers would look around and say, "Oh, I think I'll put my writer with that writer over there." And so somebody put us together, and
thank God.
Yes, but it's like a blind date, And you know how often, I don't know, Allie, how many blind dates you've been on in your life, but
none.
Yeah, because I would say probably 95% of the time they're no fun and sort of disastrous. But here we met. How do you do? Hello. Oh, and Stowe had a hit song on the radio at that time, and I had a hit song on the radio at that time. So that's why they were really excited. And they said, "Oh,
maybe they'll write a big hit for Reba McEntire or something."
That's what they were hoping. Did that happen?
No.
No. But what did happen was we had so much fun.
We did.
We laughed and wrote a ridiculously funny, slightly risque, especially back in the early 90s.
Beyonce might be able to cut that now.
Oh, it would be nothing now. Nowadays, it really would be nothing.
It's nothing.
But actually, it's called Honey, I Want Your Money. And I will say, when we were out doing a lot of New Thought churches, some very brave ministers actually asked us to do that right before the offering was
Oh
taken.
my gosh.
Crazy, man.
So anyway, we wrote that song, and then because it was not a big hit for anybody, we sort of didn't see each other for the next 16 years.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
But it was when I came out of that cancer experience, and I had the feeling that I might live for at least a few more years. I just said a prayer, and I said, I want someone to write with. I swear it was the next week. My next door neighbor said, he's a photographer, and he said, I'm going to go do a shoot with Karen Taylor Good. Do you know her, right? And I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen her in years. And so I went with him. I was still probably right around 100 pounds. I was not very far out from my life-saving surgery. And anyway, we reconnected.
Yeah.
And I said, would you write with me? And she said, yes. And she had been doing all these New Thought churches for you were doing very well at that at the time. And she had all these great songs that so many people resonate with. And we got together. She said, well, and I had a new book coming out called Flying High. And she said, you've written all the Flying High song, right? And I said, no.
So the first thing we did was to
Yeah.
write that. And then we just got together, like it started, well, that went so well. Let's write every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And pretty soon it was every Tuesday and every Thursday. And then pretty soon it was like every day.
And it was just about writing. We just wrote
Right.
songs. And then somebody said, you guys sound pretty good singing together. Maybe you could be a duo. And we were like, huh?
That was scary.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's like almost like getting married or something. I mean, it's a big deal
It's a big deal.
to create, a partnership and all that. But we've been doing it for the last 13 years.
And we are now best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband, Dennis, calls her wife number 2 because our studio is here in my house. And it's lovely. It's
Yeah, it
really
is.
lovely. I always say that I think that God brought Stowe into my life so I would know what it felt like to have a sister
Oh.
who likes me. Oh my.
Wow, what a story, and what a beautiful friendship. I can really tell that, being so intimate with, writing music and bringing your voices together and presenting that to the world is a big thing to commit to. And it's beautiful that you've lasted as long as you have together. That's just such a testament to your to the work that you're doing, I guess. Yeah. So when you think back in your earlier days when you were developing as songwriters and musicians, what was it? Because I'm an artist, I'm a painter artist, and I've always been interested in painting. It's something that soothes my soul. It's my touchstone that I go to. It's been there throughout all the chapters of my life, all my relationships. There's that common thread of creativity, my art. And I'm wondering, where did the music start for each of you? And how is that, obviously it's manifested as you together as a duo, but how did it, can you tell us a little of your musical journey?
You should start.
Well, my dad played a little guitar. I mean, it wasn't real little. It was a normal sized guitar. It wasn't that he wasn't, a virtuoso or anything, but I think it must have been inspired by that, because when I was 9, I wanted a ukulele, and I saved up my little allowance, which was like $0.25 a week or something. And I got a ukulele. And then the next year at 10, I got a guitar. And then the next year when I was 11, I wrote my first song, and people were like, and then I just kept on writing, and people were like, where is all this music coming from? And I said, it's in my head. Don't you hear it? And, Yeah, so I just went on from there, and I was inspired by people like James Taylor, and I loved Jimmy Webb, is a songwriter of like Lyman for the County, and there was just all kinds of people, Jim Croce, and I was inspired by a lot of men because my father taught me that men are smarter than women.
Boo.
And so that's who I kind of tried to emulate, were the men. What about you?
Well, I did not know I was a songwriter until my mid-30s, I'm going to say.
Wow.
But I always knew that I was a singer. So I can remember being very miserable, sorry, on the playground at Mesita School in El Paso, Texas, sitting there, nobody playing with me, and I am making myself cry by singing, I hear the whippoorwill singing up, Tammy, Tammy, Tammy's in love, which was popular eons ago when I was 6. And then it saved me in high school because my nose had grown up before the rest of my face. This is not a real one, actually. And so I got teased horribly. And but when I found the choir, it was like, this is something. This is mine. This is something that I can have and use. So then I joined bands and sang to really drunk people until 2:00 in the morning. And then it got a little better because I moved to Memphis first and started punching a time card at 8:30 in the morning. We would go in and sing WRLT, Memphis, those kind of things.
What a great use of your
really
voice.
And then it got a little better because I started working in Chicago and I got to sing some national spots like taco salad. Ooh, what a treat. Made just for you in a bowl you can eat. Yeah. Taco Bell. But all the time I'm thinking, is this what I'm supposed to be doing with this gift? And then came I was so blessed. I was going through a painful divorce and I needed a way to express what was going on inside of me. And I just started writing stuff down and I looked at it and thought, wow, that kind of rhymes and maybe that could be a song. So yes, I'm very grateful for that gift.
Me too.
And that's my story.
Beautiful stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is your day, your weeks, your months look like now? I know that you present, you do talks. I saw your TED Talk. For those of you that want to have a real treat, you can find Stowegood TED Talk. That was really inspiring. So you present. Do you still do gigs at centers, spiritual centers? Like, how do you share your music? And YouTube, you have an amazing YouTube channel too.
Thank you.
Yeah, because COVID did such a number on so many of our beautiful churches, there aren't that many. We're starting to go back to a few of them that have kept their congregation and are growing them. But we also have recorded talks, our musical keynotes, sermon and song, where people somebody's using one in Pensacola this coming weekend. So, yeah. And then we love writing songs. We just wrote a song. We got commissioned to write a song for someone's dog named Odin. And we wrote a very cool and fun song. And then Stowe, our videographer, created a wonderful video to go with it. So that's really fun.
Yeah. So we're pretty much always writing a song for someone, a commissioned song. And that's really, man, that's fun. It's fun. It's fun to write a song. And then it's really fun to see the reaction to it because, when they give us the information that comes from their heart and we're able to sing it and play it back to them, it's really, it's really rewarding.
Well, I bet that is. So when you are commissioned to create a piece for someone, is that then theirs to do with what they want, or is that song something that you can weave into your performances? How does that work? I've always wondered about that.
That has actually only happened one time, hasn't it? We were commissioned to write a song for this lovely couple that we stay with often, or used to, when we used to go down to
Florida, Naples.
And so they asked us to write a song for their mother, one of them, their mother, Ruth. So jump in.
And we had met their mother, and she was just a beautiful lady. She's a quilter.
Yeah.
She was. And so they said, would you write a song about our mother? And so I really got stuck on this. I had a little mental block because I had lost my mother so young. I was like, I don't know how to write a song about a mother. I was just kind of getting all negative there. And then the lady came back to us and she said, well, we would like, I have some ideas about this song. So, and she gave them to us. And
one thing she said was, not everybody has a loving experience of a mother. And so can you also put in there about God, like Father, Mother, God, and being loved by that? Mm-hmm. And then also,
could it be about Mother Earth?
Oh, yes. Then could you also make this song, which usually are like 3.5 minutes. Can you also make it about Mother Earth? Huh? And on top of that, we want this to be a song that you guys love so much. You do in your performances all the time. You share it. And we're going,
I don't think so.
That is never going to happen. Because this is going to be such a weird song. And it's going to be 80 minutes long.
Guess what? I had so much fun writing this song.
Oh my gosh.
And we love it. And we do often do it in our shows.
Yes, we do.
So it's called Wrap You Up.
Let your mother wrap you up in love. And it's
usually used on Mother's Day too.
Yeah. But that is the only one most of the time. But they can do whatever they want with it.
Beautiful. Well, sorry, go ahead.
So we write them for organizations as well. So like when we do our keynotes for different organizations, oftentimes they'll have us write a song about their, whatever their thing is, their event.
Yeah, that's really meaningful when you have an event, a conference, a retreat or something, and the musicians actually create a song, and then everyone there sort of learns the lyrics and sings along, and it's something that really binds or connects or brings people together in that beautiful creative space of connection with one another. Yeah.
I hope we can do something with you one of these days, Allie.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I'm, our music director at our center wrote the song coming into the show.
Yes.
On the Growing Edge. Yeah. And so when I was listening to that, I was thinking, oh, maybe it's time for a new song.
Well, she's doing it as well because the voice was lovely. Oh, it's great.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Her name's Leslie Monroe, and she's
currently.
Yeah, she's, I will, and she works with the music team at the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. Yeah. Okay, we're going to jump off and take a very short break, and we will be back in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Robert?
Where is he?
Maybe we won't be back in a couple of minutes. Maybe we're staying. We're back. So I would love to ask Stowe a question. I know that you've co-authored this book, Flying High, a true story of shared inspiration with Calvin LaHue. Is that how you say his name? And I'd love to hear a little bit about what inspired you and how your journey, how this supported you on your journey of healing.
Okay. Well, so I was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in 2008, and it was right around this time that a friend of mine introduced me to Calvin. And Calvin he used to hold this Saturday. He called it a metaphysical meeting, and he would read from books that inspired him. I mean, his purpose in life was to inspire others, and he had turned an old Stoveworks factory into a thriving shopping center. You know, when it people said it couldn't be done. You know, he's a multimillionaire. He's a experimental airplane pilot. He's crashed like 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so when I met him, I thought my husband at the time. Now I now call him my husband. I told Peter, I said, you would love this guy. And so Peter is a documentary filmmaker. And Peter said, they met and decided to make a movie about Calvin's life because he's so inspiring. And then he said, and how about, you could write the story of Calvin's life. Well, this was at a time when I was feeling very low. And, my mother had gone through a very painful, from the time I was born, she was sick with cancer, and she, eventually died when I was 3. So I had a connection to that in my mind, in my soul, that maybe that was going to happen to me and I was going to leave my children. And, I was just very depressed. And so, but we set it up as every Monday we would meet with Calvin in his office, and I would record what he said and write about it. And then, after a while, I started inserting my story into his story and, taking away what I got from him and trying to incorporate his words into my life, like what you think about, you bring about, and that kind of thing, just all his little sayings. And, it was his presence in my life changed me, and in fact, I kind of wonder if I would be here if it weren't for him.
Wow.
Because after 2 years of writing it and being close to the edge of death, I was recommended for hospice. I barely walked into his office one day, which I thought might be the last time, and I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'll see you again. This is bad. And he said, you don't have to. Well, I have to go back and say I was refusing to have colostomy surgery that they said would save me. I knew that would be the end of my life, and I wouldn't want to live like that. And so he said, when I ask God for something, when I ask God for a miracle, I don't tell God how to do it. I thought about that, and I went home and I said, do you want me to have this surgery? And I was praying for a no, because I was so depressed. I just wanted to leave. And the answer I got was an emphatic, in my spirit, in my body, was an emphatic yes. You want me to stay here? You want me to go on? And so I did. And, when I said yes to that surgery, I said yes to my life. And it was an important breakthrough for me.
That's beautiful. I'm glad that all of that occurred, that you listened to that inner guidance to connect you with him and stay and listen to his message and find the strength to move on. I was wondering if you'd like to share another song.
Oh, yes.
You talked about personal GPS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you listened to yours, didn't you?
Yes, I did listen to my GPS. That
We-
was one of the things I learned during my journey there.
That's great. And we want to thank Freebo for co-writing.
Yeah. So Steve Jobs said, "Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice."
Let me tell you about my angel. Wait a minute. Do we have that?
Nope.
One moment. We need a little reverb. Ah, better. Here we go. Let me tell you about my angel, the one you'll never see. My everyday companion, living deep inside of me. She guides me through the trenches. She gets me out of every mess. She's my Bible, she's my buddy, she's my personal GPS.
She leads me on my journey. She guides me to the goal. She's always on the money, never leaves me in the cold. And every time I listen, I wind up being truly blessed. She's blessed, she's truly blessed. She's my Bible, she's my buddy, she's my personal GPS.
I'm at a fork in the road. I gotta make a choice. There's so much going on, I don't heed a voice.
So I make a wrong turn, I'm feeling lost and afraid. Then I hear my angel calling, recalculate.
Well, I gotta pay attention, cause it's powerful stuff. I gotta turn it on, and I gotta turn it up. Every time I do it, you know I'm guaranteed success.
She's guaranteed success.
She's my Bible, she's my buddy, she's my personal GPS.
Now I'm floating, lost and lonely, drifting in the dark. Will I ever find a harbor? I don't see it on the chart.
Something saying no, but something else is whispering yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
She's my Bible, she's my buddy, crystal clear and never muddy.
She's my Watson, she's my Tonto, never tardy, always pronto.
She's my Sherpa, she's my guide, never runs and never hides.
Truly awesome, she's the best. She's my personal GPS.
My personal GPS.
Ooh, my personal GPS.
She's my personal GPS. Oh my goodness. You two have so much fun. I can only imagine the creative sessions when you're writing a song.
It's pretty fun.
And that's so powerful to know that we've got that inner guidance to always depend on and lean into.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the inner guidance. And when you're working with somebody like this person who just allows the flow and the freedom, it's non-judgmental, it helps your inner guidance feel free to come out and play, and just, you can, we're free to say stupid things that will definitely not be used in the song.
Or they
or they might lead to something else,
Right.
and it's just so much fun to create like that.
And I have to say the new keynote that we are working on currently is all about collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
because we feel like, in front of in a secular audience, in a business world, how cool it will be, instead of one person standing up there and talking about collaboration, how about if two collaborators who can show you, who can make a case for collaboration? So yeah, we're excited about that.
That's amazing. I'm really into the Enneagram. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Enneagram.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
daughter gets into that.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, because I'm organizing a presentation or a keynote based on the Enneagram, and I'm thinking how amazing it would be to have a song that was funny, that highlighted all of the quirks of all the different personality types.
Hilarious. May we write it, please?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be a collaboration for sure, because there's a lot of content to consider there. So, Karen, I heard you say somewhere, a song can travel in the heart where words cannot go.
Right.
So I'm wondering, how has that inspired you? What's opened up because you've considered that? Because words, songs, as you're singing and sharing your story and talking about your history, I'm seeing that we all have a particular soundtrack to our lives, so there's that idea that we're always, most of us, at least in the West that I know of, are so familiar with the songs, the popular songs, or the songs that you hear maybe at church or wherever you hear music, and they somehow become a part of your life. And so when you speak of a song can travel in the heart where words cannot go, I'm wondering, can you share some stories of how your music has helped people, has inspired people, or maybe even yourself in some of the songs that you've written?
Yeah. That's a great question. Thank you. The story that comes to mind is I was kind of teasing about my sister. I do have a sister, Bonnie, and I love her dearly, and she loves me. Her son, my nephew Paul, was murdered when he was 21. And I watched my sister go through this painful experience. And I did not know how to talk to her. I didn't know what she needed from me or didn't need from me. And thank God, she found the Compassionate Friends, which is one of the organizations out there for bereaved parents, which you may know something about, Allie. And it saved her life. It truly did. And she became very active in it. And they were coming to Nashville to do their 1 year national conference. And she asked me, she was on the committee, and she said, could you come sing something? So we thought about my song, How Can I Help You Say Goodbye? But it's true, it's mother-centered. It was really centered on losing one's mother. And I said, well, let me see if something comes. But I'm not that kind of songwriter. I don't hear voices but you know what? I was at the Waffle House with my husband, Dennis, and he was talking. He's a big talker, and I love him dearly. And he's talking and talking, and all of a sudden I start hearing these words and the music. And I said, Dennis, wait, stop. And I borrowed a pen from the waitress, and on Waffle House napkin, I wrote down this song that wasn't coming from me, because I already told you I didn't have the words. And the song is called Precious Child. I have to say, I believe that, unfortunately, that is our most popular, most watched video on our YouTube channel. That song has, when I talk about someday, I hope that if God gives out God Grammys after we leave this world, that I think that song might get me a God Grammy. So I'm so grateful for it. And it has helped my relationship with my sister, and lots and lots of bereaved families.
Yeah. Wow. I will definitely look up that song. We were sharing earlier that I lost my son too. And music, songs can really comfort us when maybe even being around people is too challenging. So, where else have your songs gone where, words haven't? Can you give us some, maybe the two of you together have had experiences when you've presented music in one of your keynotes or talks or performances that people have shared with you, how your song, your music has touched them on their journey?
I would say it happens at all of our events in general, whether it's a concert, a keynote, or whatever. But the place where it's most evident and makes it easy for us to really connect with people and facilitate self-awareness and an opening heart is in our retreats. And, like you can stand up there and talk, and there are a few very gifted speakers that can just open people's hearts. But it's almost like Karen says a lot of times, it's like cheating. You can play one song and you can open up the hearts of the whole audience. And then we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about the process of getting down into yourself, but people can just go there. They can either start talking with one another and sharing their stories, or they can write about it. And music is just amazing. It's such a gift.
It truly is. Yeah. So maybe we'll play another piece at the end so that we can have an experience of connection, knowing you now, hearing your stories, hearing your journeys, and connecting in the piece, because I know that the song we talked about is Bring on the Peace. Can you share a little bit about this Bring on the Peace and where that came from?
Yeah, we had we were going to do our message in music down in Houston, and we had months earlier, we had written what we call sermon and song, I guess. We had written that months earlier, and we were going to rehearse it. So we did it, and we just looked at each other and went, gosh, that really doesn't do anything for me.
It didn't feel right anymore.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. The time had passed for that. And so I asked Karen, I said, what is on your heart that you would like to talk about or sing about? And she said,
boy, the only thing I could think about was how the division in this country and in this world, something that I have never experienced before. And it's sad and it's scary. And that's what was on my heart. And then you said the same.
I said, it's really interesting you say that, because this morning I was sitting at the breakfast table staring at my eggs and bacon and thinking, how can we get peace into this world? And I was like, I was going to say a little prayer about it, but I felt so helpless. Like, how can my little prayer affect the world? And so I did that prayer that I like to do, where I start with myself. There's peace in me, there's peace in my neighborhood, peace in my city, peace in country, across the world. I just did that, and that was helpful for me. And
you're a more spiritual being than I. I was just pieced off. I was. So when Stowe invited me, she said, why don't you start something at the piano? Well, here's the thing. I'm like, I write ballads. If I sit down by myself, and I knew it was going to be another kumbaya thing. And I was like, no, I disagree. Well, no, I mean, I said, it can't be. It has to have more urgency and more feeling. And so I said, no, you start. And man, so Stowe just, she started playing this amazing chorus and feel, and then we both jumped in, and there it came.
Like an hour and a half later, we were done.
Wow. Well, I would love for you two to share it. I always end the show with the question, what does the world need now? And I'd love this to be your love, sweet love, and bring on the peace.
Yeah. So before we do it, if we could share a quote from one of our favorite writers. Her name is L.R. Nost. Have you heard of her?
Yeah.
She's lovely.
She said, Here's to the bridge builders, the hand holders, the light bringers, those extraordinary souls wrapped in ordinary lives who quietly weave threads of humanity into an inhumane world. They are the unsung heroes in a world at war with itself. They are the whisperers of hope that peace is possible.
Look for them in this present darkness. Light your candle with their flame, and then go. Build bridges, hold hands, bring light to a dark and desperate world. Be the hero you are looking for. Peace is possible. It begins with us.
Beautiful.
You know I gotta tell you, I got a pain in my heart. Take a look around, what's going on? You used to be united, now we're just a world divided. But we can change it if we want. Bring on the peace, bring on the healing, bring on the hope, bring on the love, bring on forgiveness. Can I get a witness? It's time for sweet release. Bring on the peace.
Every day's a battlefield. What's with all the anger? It's like we're building altars to the hate. Kindness comes around, somebody shoots it down. You know it doesn't have to be this way. Bring on the peace, bring on the healing, bring on the hope, bring on the love, bring on forgiveness. Can I get a witness? It's time for sweet release. Bring on the peace. We're better together than we think we are. We could fight for forever or just drop our guard. It's not that hard.
Bring on the peace,
Bring on the healing.
bring on the hope,
Bring on the love. Bring on forgiveness.
can I get a witness? It's time for sweet release.
Bring on the peace.
Bring on the peace,
Bring on the healing.
bring on the healing,
Bring on the hope.
bring on the hope,
Bring on the love. Bring on forgiveness.
bring on forgiveness.
Can I get a witness? It's time for sweet release. Before it's too late, please.
Bring on the peace,
Bring on the peace.
bring on the peace.
Before it's too late.
Song. That's just absolutely amazing. Exactly what the world needs to hear and remember and take action on. Yeah.
Amen.
So as we wrap up, how can people connect with you, and what can you bring? What do you offer folk that maybe want you to come and present, or how can they work with you?
Wow. Well, you can check out our website, stowegood.com. You can write to us, info@stowegood.com, because we would love to come and do our sermon and song, message and music at your spiritual center. Maybe do a whole weekend where we can do a retreat one day.
Or a uplifting keynote for your organization.
Yes.
And you can find out more about all of those things on our website, or just write to us at info@stowegood.com.
And please check out our YouTube channel. It's just Stowegood on YouTube. There's a lot of healing songs. Whether you've lost a family member, whether it's four-legged or two, we have songs for you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being our guest here on Growing Edge Live, and I look forward to following you and staying connected with you. And I trust that wherever you go, you continue to inspire and transform and uplift everyone that's graced with your presence.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.
you. Thank you for being a bright light in this world and doing what you're
Oh,
Absolutely.
all the
Thank
best.
you.
And thank you to this network. Man, we need to spread the word about this.
Yeah, New Thought Media Network. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's been on this beautiful journey, this musical journey with us today. And be sure to come back next week, as I have a special guest, a friend of mine, Nithya Shanti. So peace and blessings, lots of love to you wherever you are. And we'll see you back here at the Growing Edge next week. Goodbye.